The economic gamble. Would independence pay off? What would happen to Catalonia's economy if it had achieved independence in 2017? When President Puigdemont declared independence, financial markets immediately responded. The Spanish stock market dropped 2.45% in a single day. Several of Catalonia's largest companies, including Banco Sabadell and CaixaBank, announced plans to relocate their headquarters outside the region. This immediate economic reaction highlights the central tension in separatist economics, the promise of greater control over resources versus the potential for significant economic disruption. Economic self-determination serves as a powerful motivator for many independence movements. Regions like Catalonia, Scotland, and Flanders in Belgium point to their economic strength relative to their parent countries as justification for independence. These regions often argue that they contribute more in taxes than they receive in public services and investment, creating a sense of economic grievance that fuels separatist sentiment. Catalonia represents Spain's economic powerhouse, generating approximately 20% of Spanish GDP while containing just 16% of the population. The region accounts for 25% of Spain's exports and attracts nearly one-third of all foreign investment in the country. For many Catalans, these figures suggest they would be better off controlling their own economic destiny rather than subsidizing poorer Spanish regions. Barcelona economist Jordi Serra calculates that Catalonia transfers between 8 to 10 billion euros annually to other Spanish regions through tax revenue that exceeds public spending in the region. This creates what we call the fiscal deficit, money that leaves our economy and doesn't return, he explains. Over decades, this accumulates to hundreds of billions of euros that could have funded infrastructure, education, and healthcare in Catalonia. However, independence would create immediate economic challenges that might offset these potential gains. The key economic hurdles include trade disruption. Spain represents the destination for roughly 35% of Catalan exports. An independent Catalonia facing trade barriers or temporary exclusion from the European Union would experience significant export disruption. Scotland faces similar challenges, with 60% of its exports going to the rest of the UK compared to just 19% to the EU. The Scottish government's analysis suggests independence could reduce Scotland's GDP by up to 8.7%. Currency complications. Remaining in the Eurozone would provide stability but require EU member states' agreement, including Spain's. Creating a new currency would offer monetary sovereignty but risk depreciation and financial instability. As Maria Puig, owner of a Barcelona textile business, explains, "My company exports across Europe. Currency uncertainty would devastate our operations. Most of our contracts and loans are in euros. Changing currencies would throw all our financial planning into chaos." Banking system challenges. When independence movements gain momentum, capital flight often follows. After the 2017 referendum, more than 7,000 companies moved their legal headquarters from Catalonia. Banking systems depend on central bank support. Without European Central Bank access, Catalan banks would face higher borrowing costs and potential liquidity challenges. National debt division. Catalonia accounts for approximately 19% of Spanish GDP, but would an independent Catalonia assume a corresponding share of Spain's sovereign debt? Negotiations over debt inheritance often become contentious, as seen during Scotland's independence campaign. Public sector transition. New nations must establish government agencies, regulatory bodies, tax collection systems, and border infrastructure. Scotland's government estimated transition costs at approximately €3.2 billion. Creating these institutions would require significant investment during an economically vulnerable period. Despite these challenges, independence proponents argue that long-term benefits would eventually outweigh short-term disruption. They point to small European nations like Denmark, Finland, and Ireland that have prospered through economic policies tailored to their specific needs. With control over taxation, regulation, and public investment, newly independent regions could potentially create economic environments more conducive to their strengths. Small countries can be more nimble in responding to economic opportunities, argues economic geographer Helena Norberg. Look at how Ireland transformed itself into a technology hub through targeted tax policies and educational investments. Catalonia or Scotland could pursue similar strategies with independence. How do these economic realities affect public support for independence? Polling data reveals that economic concerns significantly influence voters' positions. During Scotland's 2014 referendum campaign, economic issues consistently ranked as voters' top concern. Those who believed Scotland would be economically better off independent were overwhelmingly likely to vote for independence. Similarly, support for Catalan independence correlates strongly with economic perceptions. When asked why they support independence, 51% of pro-independence Catalans cite economic improvement among their primary motivations, according to a 2022 survey by the Centre d'Estudis d'Opinió. Given these complex considerations, many independence movements have moderated their approaches. Rather than immediate full independence, some propose phased transitions that would maintain economic integration while gradually building separate institutions. Others advocate for enhanced autonomy arrangements that would provide greater fiscal control without the disruption of full separation. Scotland's independence movement has developed detailed economic transition plans addressing currency, trade, and financial regulation. These plans acknowledge potential short-term costs while emphasizing long-term benefits. By addressing economic concerns directly, independent supporters hope to convince voters that the transition, while challenging, would ultimately benefit their region. Successful independence would create significant economic disruption for regions like Scotland and Catalonia, requiring complex trade-offs between sovereignty and economic stability. The calculation involves weighing immediate transition costs against potential long-term benefits of self-determination. For regions considering independence, this economic gamble represents perhaps the most consequential aspect of their decision. Beyond economics and culture, many independence movements are fueled by something deeper: historical trauma.